Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, and perhaps even good evening. Thank you so much for dropping by the very, very sleepy Sunday morning and checking out the 3D Shenanigans thing with me, which is awesome. Vince is here. Olena is here. Olena, I'm going to totally explain what Shenanigans is in a moment. Mr. Brian is here. The Sacred Sage is here. Camilla is here. Everyone from Rosie's Gym is here. Hello, everyone from Rosie's Gym. Very, very cool. And there's also Nancy is here, Nico is here, and anyone else that I've forgotten? Sebastian! Sebastian was asking, do I get nervous before streams, or is it all routine? It's a very good question. I don't get nervous. It's more like a kind of a rush of stuff that I need to get done before things happen. So I wish it was a one-click operation, going live, but that's sadly not the case. There's multiple computers involved. There's web interfaces that all need to be, preset and pre-programmed, and I need to check audio routing before I go on air so that like all these computers kind of, work together. And often I don't budget enough time for that. So like today was a perfect example of that, where I was in bed literally 15 minutes before 10 and I thought, I have to schedule this thing and I don't think I can do that. So hence we're starting at 10:30. It's one of those things. Olena, Shenanigans is an English expression or American expression for mischief. Something that is a bit of a joke, a bit of a prank. It's something that I don't think there are many synonyms for it, but sadly I can't think of any. But if you have a look on Wikipedia or on Google, you'll probably find the proper definition of shenanigans. It's like it's something that isn't quite taking itself seriously. Those are shenanigans. And 3D Shenanigans is a series that I've devised many years ago for something I just call working sessions. So there's not really a big plan to it. I just roll with it and we'll see what comes out. And today it's all about the science classroom bundle. Another term could be horseplay. Indeed. Speaking of horseplay, which is actually very interesting that you say that. Brian's made a good picture. May I show that here on the screen, Brian? That'd be really nice. Brian's decapitated a person riding on a horse. That's very cool. He did that in character creator /iClone. It always looks very nice when you do these things. I really appreciate that you post them. I'm going to go and dig out some music here. I might go and pause this, pick up some music that we can listen to from the friendly people from the epidemic. What's new navigation? Man, I don't like new things and interfaces. Don't do things new. Where are my playlists? I should have read it. Oh, what a shame. I don't know where my playlists are. They used to be here last time I checked. Is it under account? Is it under... No. Where is it? That's so bad, isn't it? New releases, is there? I need my playlists. Epidemic, don't change things around. This is so bad. Yeah, well, can't we listen to music now? It used to be, is it under account maybe? Preferences, browse, saved. Is it saved maybe? Yes, there they are. Thank God for that. Dreamy Beats is what we're listening to. I'm tired as well. Come on, let's have a look at your Headless Horsewoman. I think is it on Patreon? I think I can, am I logged in there? Yes. Create a home, that's not where I want to be. I want to be in, I think, 0 Kelvin. So patreon.com /0 Kelvin is where we want to be. Looks like I need to fill out some tax form here. Okay, fine, I'll do that. And this is it. Lady Dulala. Very cool. So I didn't actually get it at first when I looked at the small thumbnail because I didn't... It was so small that the dark parts, they kind of very much blended into one another. So I didn't understand what it was until I zoomed in and I thought, oh, why is she carrying her own head? And I thought, oh my goodness, head. She hasn't got a head. So very clever. I think in the post, it is wicked, isn't it? In the post, Brian describes that he in fact had two figures and he took this one here, which obviously still kind of has a head, or had a head. he took that into Blender, severed her head, and then used a kind of a skin cap to just close the body off. And then a second figure is the other way around. So the second figure has everything else severed and just leaves the head. And that is, so it's basically two characters in the scene, and most of them is invisible. So it's all basically removed in Blender. So very, very clever, very clever. And then of course there's a horse. So it reminds me, this could be very well be seen out of Elden Ring, or one of those things. Oh, that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. I'm thinking that the principle is probably going to work in any 3D application, including Blender. So it'll probably work for Daz Studio as well. I might even be inspired and do a Daz version of it, and then, you know, we can collaborate that way. You're the ideas man. Brian, thank you so much for sharing that. It's just really nice. So today I want to do something which is which kind of good news for me. I have been very hard working on something I call the Daz Studio Masterclass over the last few months, and it's finally ready to rock. And so it's basically a really long series, like 16 hours, to show you how to get started with Daz Studio, and focuses on portraits. We're talking about the interface and lighting and how to put things together and how to correct things with external applications. There's 3 large parts. One of them is about post-production, and I need a generic thumbnail that I can use for every video. So I think there's over 50 videos. It's like 18 hours worth of content in total, and it should go on sale on the Daz Store very soon. And it's going to be really, really exciting. I'm really excited about this, and I thought I had a little idea of how to do the thumbnail with a couple of classroom bundles. So this one is not actually it. This is the bundle that I thought I might have a look at. So I purchased that together with this one here. So this is a different one, the Japanese Neat Classroom by Clacy Arch 3D. It's also, they're both Daz originals, so you can use your Daz Plus coupons on it. So this is one that I was considering, but the Science Classroom bundle is by Decagon Studios, and they're both very good creators, Clacy as well as Decagon Studios. They're massive in the Unreal space, and so this might work. This might work. So this, I'm probably going to have to replace the texture here and write something like Daz Studio, like this one's already blank, so that would work. I'm going to write something like Daz Studio Masterclass on here. And then with a 2D overlay, I'd have something like episode 1, episode 2, that sort of thing. So that's on sale. And then this one here is, no, actually this one here comes with several things. So that's like this classroom at night with a kind of a projection going here, so that might work really well. This looks really cluttered and messy because of all the props, but you know, I'm thinking of putting a couple of people in here that are kind of shifting on their seats, so I'll have a little trailer animation where the camera just pans in there for 10 seconds. That's kind of the overall plan. So let's see if we can make it work. So this is the full classroom with the props, but we also have an empty version of it, and we also have poses with the bundle. This is it. So I'm thinking there could be like 2 people sitting here. I need kind of an empty-ish blackboard, and the camera could just roll in from there as a 10-second sting that I might use. I might not. I'll see about that. Yeah, classroom environment is actually empty. So this, with the discount, I'm not actually locked in here, but with the discount, like Camilla said, this is actually even cheaper. So have a look at this. Seems to be a mega sale on. Yeah, so empty classroom, we'll see if that works. And the props, I'm kind of hoping that they're going to be parented into place so that we just have to double click and use them, and we'll have a look at that. I haven't even installed it yet. I literally just purchased it yesterday, and yeah, there we go. That's the full classroom. So I'm sure that's how it's made. And it looks like everything is separated, so I don't have to pull out any stunts to hide walls and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll deal with that as it happens. So yeah, there's classroom props. Is one product in here. Classroom, hello. Oh, that's the bundle. That's the bundle. Oh, I had that open here already. Duh. Just want to make sure that I know which products to install. So there's the classroom environment, Science Classroom props, and there's the classroom props. And Miss Rin and the poses I don't think we need, but those things. Yeah, let's go get going with this. How is everyone's Sunday going? I'm totally going to have a look at the chat now as Install Manager goes and does its thing. And then we can see what we can come up with here as a little scene there. A couple of things I need to update. Maybe I won't do that. So classroom environment, I'm going to go and use my regular folder for that. Classroom props. I'm also going to use the Japanese neat classroom. And there's the science classroom props. Those things I need. Okay. Perfection. Do your thing. "5 days, Sage. That's cool. Come on. Can you make it 10 days? That is so cool. I just got a comment yesterday from the Beard Goblin. He's still around. And he has started playing Elden Ring now. So wow. One of those things. He says, and it's all my fault. So yeah, he's hopelessly hooked. One of those things. Congrats on finishing Cyberpunk, by the way, Sage. That's very, very cool. Can't make it 10. Can't happen. Olena is also going to get the classroom bundle. All right. Yes, let's have a look at what it has to offer. So I always find it helps if you have a look at how it, what comes with it and how it behaves in situ. So let's see. Daz Studio 4.20, and also I'm going to go and make my little cursor a little bit highlight so you can keep track of what I'm doing there. Nico, always find the funky deals and the things you have to do in order to get even better deals than the deals that you already get. That's good. I like that. Extreme couponing, they call it in America. Now, where might that be? It's not under accessories. That would be probably under environments, I'm thinking. Is it? Yes, classroom environment. Japanese neat classroom, that's the other one. And then we have some, would it be accessories? Would it be props? Possibly. That's props, okay. So that's that and that's that. So how do the props look like? We have, those are just the props. Oh, okay, so they are, if I go and load any of these in, they probably come into the center of the scene here. I like it. Nice one. And I would imagine they're probably parented in the correct positions. That is cool. That is very cool. Every single rock. I would imagine there's a scene in the regular product that then goes and comes with like an empty classroom as well as a pre-populated classroom. That is probably how that works. I love it. I love having assets like this because that means you can use them for your own scene project. So you don't have to necessarily go and buy those things or find those things from other places. If ever you're making your own bits and pieces, if you needed a paper mache volcano, you got it. And then, of course, these things can also be used in things like Blender. Put a particle effect on here. Have a real life working volcano on your hands. Hey, that is good. What else? These are the classroom props. Anything from a banana. Very realistic banana, I must say. What is that? What's the geometry on this? So the guys from Decagon, they're game level designers and game developers. They deal a lot with Unity and Unreal Engine. And if you're a visitor of ArtStation, you'll find that they go and you find them in the art blasts quite often. Massive projects. There's a big series that they've made of how to do level design. That is available on ArtStation. So very, very cool. Neat stamp. I'm having lots of fun just exploring how these things are coming together. I mean, we haven't even looked at the actual classroom yet, but hey, this is cool. Somebody's having lots of fun just making tons of props here. That's just very funny. Yes, and also remember, everyone, your monthly coupons. That is absolutely right, Yoshi. Yoshi, welcome, by the way. Very good morning. Every classroom needs a banana, Kemi. I totally agree. What else we got? We've got clocks here. Oh yeah, that's nice. Teaching us the time. What's this? Crate, metal tray. Oh yeah, gotta have metal tray. Yes. Now, this could be made. You could go to town with this and make this out of paths, and that would, of course, jack up the geometry something fierce. So I think this is probably going to be made with transparency maps. Is it? Let's check it out. Is it? Or did they go all out of town? Yeah, they probably went all out. sweet. It's not done with a transparency map, it's all geometry. That is crazy. Good stuff. As from a 3D modeling perspective, I'm always looking at these things and thinking, how would you make that in Blender? How would you do that? Would you draw a path and then turn that into geometry? Because you could have literally just used a cube and use a transparency map for that. That makes it much cheaper to calculate, but it's cool. I like it this way all the same. It's just, you know, those questions that I ask myself when I play video games or look at 3D assets. Let's have a look at the actual environment here. Classroom environment, that's it. Oh, those are more props. That's also not what we mean. Oh, there's environments there. So HS classroom environment, but we only have one set. We don't have anything with pre-posed props. That's interesting. I would have thought we did. I used the Decagon Diner set that was available a while ago. That is also fairly dense. That is also very heavy for Daz Studio to calculate or to move around. Yep, empty classroom scene. Sure is. But no props in place. So do we have to put those in ourselves? Those are all the props that come with this. But I would have expected there to be something like a preload. But it looks like that is not the case. So those are really just the loose props. That is interesting. Curious, unless it's in the content library and not in the smart content. That is also possible. Yeah, that's just classroom. There's only one set in here. Huh. Curious. That's going to be a lot of work, Camilla. Let me have a look in the regular content library. Maybe there's something in there that it hasn't been mapped in the smart content. That could well be. Let's see. So it might be under environments. No, it's not. Dang. Probably not under general. I imagine it's under environment, isn't it? Architecture maybe. HS classroom environment. That's the only one we have. No preloads. Dang. Those are all the zero pose ones. That's all we have. Zero pose. Oh, what? Why? Slight Swiss, and we already figure out why this is on sale. That's a little bit of a shame, isn't it? It says it comes with it, doesn't it? Is it maybe all in there and it's disabled? That could be. Is it just... No. Doesn't look like it. This is all visible. I'm sure I'm not finding it properly. Let me go and search all products for literally anything that contains classroom under files. Let's see if that happens here. Also, Jay, spell it properly. Classroom, anything? What? No, not all files. There we go. No. Nothing. Dang. Was it HS classroom? That is uncurable. Science classroom. What is that? What's that called down here? They're all HSSC. That's what they all start with. So you'd imagine. It starts with HS. So let's. Why do we not see in files under all files what starts with HS? HS classroom environment. No preloads. Dang. Yeah, Is there something I haven't installed then? Indeed, and they came, Camilla, they came with a regular classroom environment, but the props are really only the props and there's no preload in there. Like, you know, if we go to this, you're saying there's a preload in here. I don't actually see that here on the science classroom props. It also doesn't say it requires anything else, so that that kind of also shows me maybe it was just not in here. I can't seem to find it. How about the other one, the science classroom props? Well, there's that, and then there's the regular classroom props. Prop set is filled with everything you expect. Huh. Well, that classroom might look emptier than I had. It doesn't, does it? That is what it is then. So all the props manually and separate. Ah, that's going to be more work than I had bargained for. Okay, well, no worries. Let's go quickly check out the other set just while we're here. So I mean, I can kind of see how this would work if I go something like, you know, if I do it from whoops, that's a bit fast here, isn't it? Let's go make that a little slower. There. So if I do something like this is even still. That's a bit too slow. There. So if I had something like this, and I could just go and move in, kind of from here, a bit faster. A couple of people sitting there, no teacher. We just zoom in on one of these. Oh, that's the other thing. It showed it as an empty kind of material here. Unless I also made that up, the chalkboard. Do we have a different texture in it? They're pre-written, so I'd have to find a way to either dim that out and just put green over it, so that I can kind of chalk write Masterclass on there. I had kind of hoped that there was a different material in this as well, but I think that might also not be the case. Yeah, we don't seem to have materials for that, so could put something from the other set together with this. That is possible. In fact, let's have a look at that other set quickly. Go get rid of this. Take a look at the other one, the Clayce's one, Japanese neat classroom here. That also comes with a ton of props and just one set. Let's load that in. Have a look at that. Yes, I suppose, Matthew, it refers to the actual classroom set, but not to the science props. That would make sense. Okay, so this is what this looks like here. Whoops. Sorry, Japanese interior classroom set. And this is where is the blackboard on both sides. Yes, we have blackboard on both sides. Oh, that's how they did that. So this is where I've seen the empty one. It's actually an empty one on this side and then a full one on that side. So that would also work, I suppose. That is totally Japanese here. But I might be able to use this texture for the other set, so that might work. Yeah, so this might also work. I might actually use this instead, because it's kind of more there, if you know what I mean. And that's part of that texture, gotcha. That's cool. Chalkboard. Goody. So I think that's probably fairly easily doable. Oops. And then let's go and have a look at our framing here. So I'd like for this to happen in 16:9, of course. And at something like 38 millimeters, maybe 28. So I'll figure that out. Might make that a bit wider, so we get the impression of a classroom. But it also has to work as a thumbnail. So let's see what this looks like with the real camera. Just because that means I can go and have a look at my... no, that's the wrong camera. That is also the wrong camera. There's some cameras that come with this set. I might not use them. Sorry, Clacy. I might go and use my own. Although the things that come with... Oh yeah, there we go. That's because it wasn't quite... it wasn't quite set up to something like maybe 38. Yeah, 38 is not wide enough, so we may have to go 28 or 18. That's going to be too much. Yeah, that's going to be too much. So this is going to focus on that, but it's not going to show me much of the rest of the room. So I think I like that in the other scene. Just perspective-wise, it just works out better that thumbnails are fairly small and the title is a fairly significant, important thing in there. I might just go and grab myself that texture out here, just in case I want to use it. So this is just called Chalkboard. I like it. Yeah, well. Yeah, okay, so I might use the other one then. So the cameras that come with a set usually are very, they're nice because you can go and get inspired of maybe some angles that you hadn't thought of. So, you know, terrible stage this, you know, you've got a vision and then you have to kind of line up the 3D world so that it makes sense. Chalkboard, exactly. And then, so as for the people in there, I was thinking I can use, oh, there's a corridor here. That is exciting. For the people there, I thought I could use AJ. Yeah, so this is probably going to work better. I might have to move some of the chairs over here a little bit more. And let's have a look what the included cameras have to offer. So that's one. That's the reverse view. That's that. Also not bad. That's a little far away. That's also the reverse view, and then that's that one. Okay, I don't really need that, or at least what I can go do is rename these so that I can go and remember what that was. I mean, that's just the overhead, so I don't really need to know that. So I'll go and remove that, and then maybe all the reverse angles I didn't need. This one was nice, that one was nice, and I think that one and that one I don't need. So that and that goes away. Yeah, so if I go and start with that or with that, or just with kind of that, I like that. Let me do that. Create new camera from that. and I'm going to call that my main camera. Focal length, yeah, I thought maybe with 28 we're going to be okay here. So that means if I wanted to show all this, start from maybe here, and then just go and dolly in, then I could have one person sitting here maybe, or here rather, and another person sitting here, like two people. That might be nice. And then we'll just go and zoom in kind of like that, or dolly in kind of like that, something like that. Or I just leave the message on the blackboard alone, and I'll just hint at a classroom like that. So that might also work. Tricky one. How are these things? Those are just the tables here, so I could just go and move everything slightly closer towards the blackboard. That's also possible. So that if I wanted this to be more prominent here, all I really then need is a couple of chairs and a table here. Maybe I'll do it that way, so that I ditch most of the set and literally have all of that not in vision, and I'll just basically focus on the blackboard here and just put my two chairs in here. That might work. If this is the one thing I'd like to focus on, where it says Daz Studio Masterclass on here, I might just do that. And then I can just blur this out a little bit and just put the caption on there. I'm thinking maybe that's a good start. Yeah, good question, Elena. So it shouldn't take all that long. So once I have my people in, and especially if it's a small animation, then I don't want a frame to render longer than 30 seconds, really. If I have like 500 frames to render, I'm thinking 30 seconds is kind of a maximum render time I'd allow for that. 1 minute max. But yeah, I would probably render this with something. So I'd probably render this at 1920 by 1080, and I would render this then at maybe with 100 iterations, and the denoiser, that should be enough for what I'm doing. If it's one still, I might go up to 1000, but that's really all I do. Let's just test early in the production process how that would work. So 1920 is this, and then under render optimization, so 100 is probably enough, and then with the denoiser on, see what the light is. So light is another thing that we need to talk about, because the HDRI doesn't come into the room, so I'll have to fiddle with that. Maybe take the ceiling light, so sorry, the roof off, so I have a bit of HDRI in here. So we'll worry about that. But yeah, this is I don't anticipate that to take all that much longer. Whoops. Than about 30 seconds. Oh, we have indoor lights. That is nice. That's nice. What happens if we go and get... And we see those reflected in the blackboard as well. That is also nice. Let me see what happens if we go and just turn up the HDRI a little bit. Get a bit of mixed light in from the window. So let's say like maybe 5. Does that do anything? No, it doesn't. Okay, good stuff. How about 50? Does that? Yeah, that does something. It's like strong sunlight coming through here. I might leave it as it was and just replace it with the regular light. I could also use a a distant light for that. They've largely fallen out of favor, but 50 is probably too much, so I might replace that with a proper light instead of the what's it called? The HDRI, the default one. Well, let me go and before I do anything drastic, let me go and save my scene and make myself a little folder for that, so I can go and map it and then put all the textures that I'm changing into that folder. So I think I might do that in my in Dropbox here. Daz projects. I'll call it Masterclass Promo, and in here I might just have one folder for textures, and I'm anticipating one for Daz scenes, and then there's probably also one for renders, but we'll go and worry about that probably later. Renders laters, there we go. And then I'll go and map this on my content library tab here. There's so many pieces mapped here, but that's cool. Every time I make a new project that I want to keep things together with, I tend to do this. Masterclass Promo, there we go. And then that appears down here. And this is where I can save all my Daz scenes. So let's start with this one here and call this one full scene. Actually, it doesn't have to be a full scene. It could just be a scene set. Scene's good. Let's go with the scene. So Masterclass V1. With that main camera kind of in this position, let me see if I can go and put some of these chairs closer so that I can see them in there, and then remove all the stuff that I don't need in the scene. So top and bottom, that should work. I might even, should I try the whole group here? Or Cody, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate that, buddy. Welcome to the stream. And if you're not in the chat, that's also totally fine. Enjoy the channel. So yeah, just a chair and a table, and ideally I like to keep them together. So maybe this whole group that can be removed. Judging by the icon, they're all full. That's all full geometry. So that's a chair, and that's the chair, and that's the table. Okay, so I'll move these things separately here. Chairs here. Oops. It might be easier if I just bring in my own chair from fresh. It doesn't really matter too much. So we have one, and then we need another one. So those here we can all just remove. And once I've whittled this down, it'll be much easier for me to go and group them together. So that's obviously going to go to over here a little bit. Like this and that, and then we have this guy, and he can go up here. As there's two classmates sitting together. I think I can kind of see that coming together. This is where I really appreciate the tools that Blender has to offer, where you just click a shortcut key, like a modifier key. And those things, I don't really care that much about what else is in here, so I might not go over the top with removing things here, but you know, everything that's whoops, as little in your scene as possible, man, will make for the fastest render times. And some of these things, they'll be in the background, so it's not gonna, I don't think it'll actually get loaded when you render the scene. I think Iray is clever enough to understand that some of these objects, if they're not showing in the scene, it's not going to render it. It's called something about culling. What's that called again? There's actually a plugin that game developers use for that, and that makes sure only the objects that are actually shown are drawn, and only from the sides that are drawn from. I forgot what that's called, but it's a fascinating kind of little project. Okay, let me see if I can group these things together here. Like this guy and that guy, and then we have this guy and that guy. So this and that, let me go and make that a group. Even though groups can be a little evil here. And then we just go and say, so that's my table group, let's just call it so that I remember what that is. And then there's this here. And that needs to also be in my table group. Now that's not easy, is it? Let me go and take that out so I know where that is in a second. That, and then we have this here. That also comes out of this group, goes into another group. So that goes into my table group here, and then the other guy was, where were you now? That's you. You also go into here. Perfect. So I have one item here. And I might make these unselectable so that I can only grab the whole group here. Perfect. So then, for the actual scene up here, this whole thing is also now unselectable, so I can't accidentally click the floor or whatnot. So in here, I'll go and rename these things properly so that I have chair left and chair right. And then I also have table left and table right. Okay. I suppose these can now be selectable again, so I can go and pick this and say you need to be, whoops, boy, that's camera. Camera also needs to be unselectable. Table needs to come forward a bit. And maybe even needs to be rotated a tiny bit like so. And then this table here, same thing, move it forward. And the chair placement will see what happens when the two people are in place. That will grab in a second. From Mixamo, I thought we can go, and I don't need to use Daz people for that. That makes it a little bit easier to keep them as animations. We're not sure what we're going to do with that. It might be this might just go. Okay, let's see if it's going to work. Yes, you can have two cards. Absolutely. Good question. If I caught the tail end of your conversation there, I have two cards myself. So under my render settings, under advanced, you can see that I have two RTX 2080s and they both work in tandem with one another. But it is absolutely correct so they both have 8 gigabytes of RAM, but that doesn't mean they make a combined 16 gigabytes of RAM. They each have 8 and the scene needs to fit into each of them. So I don't really have 16, I have 8 and the scene needs to fit into either graphics card and then they both work together during the render process. That's how that works. But you don't have to have the same make of card. You can have two different cards. So I could have a 3060 and a 2080. And if the 3060 had 12 and my 2080 has 8, then my lowest amount of RAM I could use for both cards together would still be 8. Very important. So sometimes people mix older and newer graphics cards, and there's also merit in that. But there's sometimes driver hiccups and stuff that can happen. So yeah, but that's a great way of maximizing your render power. Just having multiple graphic cards for rendering. This is all really that it needs to be, like the from here to here. That's as much as the animation needs to give us, really, with the two people sitting here just fidgeting. Let's see if we can find them, and then we can go and probably put that into here. Another folder called animations. Let's take a look at Mixamo and see what that can give us, how that can make our lives better. Olena, we're gonna totally do that right now, actually. And they should, with a bit of luck, work out of the box. So I'm gonna pick him. Actually, this is the character that I was looking for, like as a boy character. That's AJ, and then as a girl character, we can have something like, you know, AJ's equivalent. So she might work. Her and AJ, they could, you know, they take the class together, or even better, maybe her. That'll be good. Her and AJ. I think that's a good match, isn't it? I can see them working well together. So that's Claire and AJ. Love it already. I don't think people wear fantasy costumes to school, so I think we've already found our people here. Claire and AJ. Gotcha. And we need something where they are just sitting. Sitting fidgeting. So if this is Claire, let's see if we can have something like an idol of Claire. So crossed legs isn't going to work great because she's wearing a dress, so that's probably. But then if we're going to just see her from behind, maybe that's actually okay. So that might work already. That I think I like even better as she's turning her head. And she's kind of waiting for the lesson to start. I think that might be nice. 1300 frames, so that's way more than we need. But it'll work. Sitting and pointing, also nice. Make them dance in the classroom. Kemi, maybe for when the masterclass is over. That might be nice. That's only 90 frames and she's pointing. I think I've used that in my opening for the cinema sequence. That might be cool because the pointing is good. I like it. And 90 frames is probably also just the right amount. I don't think I need anything more than that. Okay, found the animation. We're going to use that, and I don't think we need to worry about her hands because we're just seeing her from here as the camera kind of just goes by. It's mainly for the still image. Animation is kind of a secondary thing. But okay, let's use this. So just the default settings from Mixamo. That should work. Sitting and pointing. Let me go and copy these over from my downloads folder directly into where I need to use them here. And I might go and rename that into Claire just so that we know what character that is. I might try a couple of others while I've got her here. Hello. Sometimes Mixamo just, crashes because it's just a browser interface. The triple X folder. I don't have one, Kemi. Look all you want. There's no one. It's not none on my hard drive. Sitting and talking. That was nice as well, wasn't it? This was the one with 1300 frames, so that might be a little much, but it also is funky. I might just go and I might grab that as well, just because that might come in handy for something. So it's way more than I need, but while we have her, while I found it, I'm gonna go and grab that as well. It'll take a while. And she's like so cute, yes. How about the regular sitting here? That is also nice. Just a bit of idle sitting, waiting for the show to start type motion. That's also good. I'm gonna grab that as well. Always good to have variation. 3 is enough, and then we can see what we make with that. So I'm gonna put it onto into here. Claire sitting and talking. This is the long one. 8 megabytes. Wow. And then there's just Claire sitting here. There. Okay, now let's get Mr. AJ involved. AJ, I think we can look for him as well. AJ. AJ, all right. He can be the teacher. Well, AJ needs to also sit there and be all quiet. And so the pink ones here, they're meant to be female animations, and I think the blue ones are kind of male animations. So I think we're seeing him something like this. So that gesture would be interesting, but only if he'd make it with his other hand. So even though I think the female ones work on the male characters as well, you wouldn't really know. That looks very demotivating. Maybe not. Maybe this one. How's that? Yeah, that's nice. So if he goes and he just turns his head because he's in nervous anticipation, and it's only 120 frames. So I'm already in love with that. Let's go take that. So that's this AJ head turning, I suppose. Orcs need education too. You're totally right. We should put orcs in. Absolutely. Why does he have no logo? I'll call it AJ turns head. Oh, that is actually the... No, that's not it. This is the... Is that it? Another head turning animation. That might also work, but I thought this is very similar to the one that we've had already. Sitting victory. Again, if we're going to see him from this position, then most of that gesture might be lost on us. Sitting swinging weapon. Okay. Maybe not. Even though it says angry, it might actually work for him to just make a gesture. He has also only 100 frames, so that might work as well. Just cheering it on, maybe that's fine. We'll call it AJ angry. That's fine. And one more, and then we can see how we can put those into the scene. Clapping, that's also good, because he's eager for the thing to start. That is good. Do we need to do something with your hand space? I mean, not that we're seeing you. It's kind of intersecting with this face a little bit. I think if I just increase that a little to 60, it works with the hands, but it's still intersecting with his large head. So I might not use that. Sitting angry, I think we had already. Sitting yell. Also interesting. But again, we've got that intersection issue. How about this way? He's kind of sitting down, just taking his seat. Also not bad. Could work. AJ backflip. Oh, that is a good product. If you find it, try linking it in the chat, Camilla. Oh, that might not work because YouTube might block you. But that sounds like a good one. I might have a look at that as well. What did you say it was called? Wireframe and hologram shader. Oh, let's just have a quick look. Do we find it? Wireframe. Well, maybe I can link it. Wireframe render for iRay. That's the one. Wireframe and hologram shader. Ooh, wireframe and hologram shader. There's two of them. Ooh, look at that. Okay, for iRay. That is what it looks like. That might be sweet, actually, to use that. With light presets. That's very cute. That is a very nice idea. That's certainly one of them. And then the other one was this one here, also by The Martian. That requires advanced ambient light. How about this one? Does that? No, that doesn't require that. Interesting. What is the advanced ambient light then? Falling down the rabbit hole. Ah, Age of Armor. Oh, this is the 3D the 3D light version then. So good point. So let's not use this one here. That is for 3D light, unless you're using 3D light. Then that is for you. This one is the iRay version. But then there's this one here, wireframe render for iRay. That's another interesting by Mike D. Ooh, that is cool. All right, Mike. Sweet. Nice. I love it when creators come up with things like this. I'd never heard of them. Nice one. Let me go put these two in the chat then, just so that we all have them. This is the wireframe render thing. Right, Kemi, that's what I thought. This is the wireframe one, and this one is the one, the other one by Mike D. All right. And if you want to go via this link before you check out, I think that should be coming up. If it doesn't, there we go. Yeah, that's the one. If you go via that link, I get a little cut of every purchase at no additional cost to you. That would greatly make my day. If you want to support me, go check out via wpguru.tv/Daz. That would get you to the homepage of Daz 3D, and when you check out, just click that link before you check out, and I get a cut of every purchase that you make, and it would be greatly appreciated. I'll go and copy these two. Well, AJ Angry, we've had that already. I've forgotten what I downloaded now. Sitting, pointing, these are with... It's got to be this one here. AJ sitting. I'm just going to go for this one. I think that's the other one. I think. If not, we're going to go and rename that. I just call it AJ sitting. There. AJ turns head and AJ sitting. That should be... No, see, this is the... It's the same one, judging by the size of it. So we've already got that, so let's go remove that. Mixamo's crashed on me again. The Deviant! Top of the morning / afternoon. Good to see you. That might be that might be a nice animation. The nervous schoolboy. But I don't know what he would position himself on. Well, I don't remember what I've exactly downloaded, but I'm sure we're having enough of what we need now. So let's go and see if we can put this into our scene. Before I do anything drastic, let me go and save this out here. And take a look at where and how these animations are coming in. So in order to bring that in, I'll just go and import this into the scene. That's from here. So let's try AJ first and see what that looks like. It comes up with one thing, which is mixamo.com, I think. Rigging limitation, bones without root skeleton. Ay caramba, that's not good, is it? There he is. Oh, yeah, I've got a couple of things here. That's not what we need. Could have sworn this worked at one point. Maybe it was a different import thing here. Probably take one then. No, that also doesn't work. Oh, or does it? No, it doesn't. Could have sworn that worked, or was that in Blender? I might be getting that wrong. Maybe it was actually in Blender where I had no problem doing that. Yeah, it could be that these things don't actually work in Daz Studio. That's very possible. How about Claire? Does she work? So she's certainly sitting, and is she moving? Yeah, she's moving. Yeah, so that Claire worked with the Mixamo. That certainly worked. Don't know why we have her hips twice, but I'm sure we'll work it out. Yeah, I thought it was gonna work. These hips here, I don't know why they appear here, but well, thankfully I saved my scene, so I don't have to worry too much about this. I might go and grab make a new scene and just deal with her animation separately in a brand new scene, just so that I know how that's going to work if and when we bring her in, how I move her around. Because she might require a little bit of scaling. So let's stick with Claire sitting here. Use Mixamo. And there she is. So it looks like this is all separately rigged. So I might go and just put all that into a group. Create a new group with all... oh, okay. Daz Studio. That's not good, is it? Sorry about that. Yes. Top quality. Tux, yes, possibly. I've only ever tried this with exporting a Genesis figure first into Mixamo and then bringing that back. But I've never tried just using the ones that come with Mixamo characters. So I had just assumed it was going to work. Foolish of me, of course. Very foolish. 3D working. That's just not how this works. So if we can't make it work here, I can always take her out into Blender and just kind of, you know, do some jiggery pokery with that. But let's try Claire sitting again. So if the parenting didn't work all by itself, I might just go and create an empty instead of a group, or null rather. I'll just go and put all of these things into the null. But the hips don't want to work. That's the hips. I don't know what this is here. Why the hips are kind of separate. What happens if I go and move the null? Is that gonna? That's not going to do anything. Okay. That means we have to get really creative with keyframes and all. That's going to be super tricky. Well, thinking outside the box. But the characters sometimes not so well. Yeah, absolutely. So I can always go and... So FBX is a total nightmare in Daz Studio. Like always has been. Might not though, always will be. Because a friend of mine he's a professor at a university, and their topic is computer science. So he taught he asked his students, because he's a big Star Wars fan, he wanted to make a Star Wars animation inside Daz Studio. He said to his students, could you, as your end of term project, write a proper FBX importer for Daz Studio? And they have worked on it, and I've seen a beta version of it, and it works beautifully. The only thing is they didn't have enough time to deal with animations in there. So that might be for next term's project. But there is, yes, absolutely, Rob. I was as surprised by that as you are, because when he contacted me initially, we did a few individual Daz sessions because he wanted to know more about it, and we spent some time together. And the next thing I knew is he said, you know what, my students are now writing an FBX importer that'll acknowledge materials and that'll acknowledge rigging and animations and lights and cameras. I think there's some of these things they didn't quite have time for, but they keep working on it. But it's coming. So the other cool thing is that they wanted to make it open source, so that anyone and everyone can download it. So if I have a little bit of time, I'll go and show you what they've done and how it compares with the regular FBX importer. Sadly, I don't have it installed. But and it doesn't do animations, but that's what they've been working on. It's super exciting. I love it when people just go and do this. Absolutely, Rob. Animation import would be fantastic. It would be so good. I'm gonna go and try a little workaround here and see if we can salvage that. That is actually his name, Jeff Salvage. If we can salvage that operation through Blender and through a trick that I like using by completely eliminating FBX from the import process. So let's see if Blender can do it. And then we can, if it works, we can go and export this as an OBJ sequence from Blender into Daz Studio. And then therefore it just be a sequence of OBJs. See if we can make it happen. If I can find my little thing here, and then there, and then here, and then Claire sitting. Okay. Animation I think we want. that certainly works. And it probably goes longer than what I've got here. I think on export this might already work. So 288 is the end here, and she also has textures, of course. Give Blender a second to do that here. Compiling all the shaders we have. Salvage indeed, yes. There we go. So she comes with textures, that's all good. And she's moving. Okay, so I could try to export this as FBX into something that Daz Studio can understand. So that's one option I can try. Whoops, that's OBJ, sorry. But the other option that I can do is, so under, I could do this. See if there's anything like selected objects, and we don't really need to have empties and cameras and all that. I could try that. Big animation, let's try that. I should map my folder here as a bookmark. There we go. Perfect. Blender conversions. Let's try clear settings. See if that works. No guarantee that this is going to work, but it's another one of those things we can try. Clear sitting, import, and armature Mixamo. Yes, try that. Oh, that looks like alien clear now. Does it work? Are there keyframes there? Yes, keyframes are indeed there, but it's alien clear. Totally not what we want. So thanks for the offer, but I'll say no thanks. And also we still have all the bits and pieces here in separately. So no. That's a keeper. NFT it, come on. It absolutely. Tim Burton, you're so right. Oh, Claire, fantastic. Loving the missing face textures there as well. Hey, some people spend a lot of time making characters like that, and we just get this given for free, so don't knock it. Happy accidents. And free nightmares all around. Delete, don't save. So, let me try the other option that I can maybe export as wavefront OBJ. Check it out. And we'll go into here. Maybe I'll put that into Blender conversions as well. And selection only. And animation. Let's do that. Geometry, I might just keep the vertex order just in case. Scale, I might export that at 100 times the size. What could possibly go wrong? Claire non-alien, hopefully. This might take a little bit longer, as Blender goes through every frame of this animation and just gives us one OBJ for every frame. So yeah, I think rigging and weight maps between programs, that's always a bit of an issue. So OBJ Sequence is like a rock solid, there's no rigging involved. That's just a new essentially a new OBJ, and if I can find it, I should be able to use Animorph to import the first OBJ into my scene. That'll be the proper object, and then I can use Animorph to import every subsequent OBJ as a morph. And that script is clever enough to turn the first shape on the first frame, second shape on the second frame, and so forth. So let's see. It might be complete overkill for what we're doing here. But hey, you never know. If I can't make it work, I'll just use the first OBJ from each character, and then I'll just have them sitting there still, and we'll worry about the animation on another day. when we have more coffee and we're less sleepy. Slender people asset. Yes, absolutely, Tux. Why didn't I think of that? That's a really good idea. J slender people morph. Let's see. So Claire non-alien. So these are all the OBJs now. So I'll go and import the first one at 100%. I'm thinking. There she is. And she hasn't got any materials. That's a shame. Has that been exported? It might just be a matter of applying that. There's the MTLs, but not necessarily an actual texture. So I don't really know where that is. It may have not been exported. Just while we're here. Material groups. As I just need to know where the thing is, I guess. And what's it called? It's called file 16. Hey, that's descriptive, isn't it? It shows on file 14 or something. Girl body mat. File 14. Yeah, that's the one. File 14 it is. Where is file 14? It's insistent. It's actually, there we go. File 14 it is. Where might that be then? Unpack. Oh, it's packed in there. Yes. Perfect. So file 14. Let's just remember that. And Blender hasn't done it because the scene isn't saved. Okay, no worries. We're remaining extremely calm about this. And we'll call this blend files. In here, we're going to have another one we'll call Claire. And we'll call this Claire sitting. And we can but hope Blender might save that file here, but no, it doesn't do that. What a shame. Let's go unpack it again. So the first, external data, pack, resources. Save. And then we go. Unpack. There it is. So it's done now. Good stuff. So where is that then? This is the file we need. Image. Save as. That could just go straight into textures here. File 14, we'll just maybe call that Claire file 14. And then Claire non-alien, just to see if it actually works here. Base color. I could have probably just dragged it in. That might also work. In fact, that does actually work. Much easier. Okay, that's a good start. Copy and paste that to here. And oh, that looks terrible. Dang. Okay, so the girl's body was okay, but the mouth and eyes and the brows, they need different materials. Gotcha. Why, Blender? Why? Why? Keep calm and Blender on. And that might be other exciting things like, you know, file 14 and 16 and 15 and stuff. There's even, look at that, there's even normal maps and bump maps and stuff. But since I only have one material group here, I'm a little confused. Shouldn't everything be on on one material file, maybe? I'm confused because Blender doesn't have these other areas here. Oh, unless they're different parts of the body. Could that be? Oh, yes, they're different parts. So those are the brows. And those are the ones that we have here, isn't it? So we have the brows, the eyes, and the mouth. Okay. I get you, Blender. I get you. So what is this? This is brows map. Browse map. Oh, she has expressions as well. Oh, that is cool. This is a little hidden gem inside inside the Mixamo character. That is really cool. So if you knew how, you could go and animate her mouth movements and her eyes like with 2D. That is really cool. I don't think Mixamo supports that, but the actual character does. Oh, that is really cool. Oh, nice. Hey, that is really, really cute. How do we save this out again? Didn't I just do that? Haven't I just had it here? Oh, unpack first. There we go. Use from, yes, perfect. Unpack it. Once you're done. You're still working on it? Sometimes Blender is a little confusing. Wasn't that just a save as? Wasn't there just a save as menu here? Haven't I just used said menu? I suppose I must have made it up. So this is in blend files, clear textures. Okay, no worries. In textures, there it is. Perfect, that's the one. So I'll go and just copy that out into my textures folder. And we'll fix the brows. Oh no, that's bad, isn't it? Should that not be the eyes, rather? Is it the... Yeah, it's the eyes. Good stuff. It's the eyes. It's also the eyes, sadly, without a transparency map, which makes this all a little bit more complicated than I really wanted it to be. And then there's the mouth. I think the mouth is probably the same texture map. I can turn this into a transparency map that I can then use. Daz Studio, or rather iRay, doesn't properly use that. I think maybe that's actually it. All we need is a transparency map now. Man, it's a lot of work. But okay, no worries. Let's make that happen. Transparency maps, easy to make in Photoshop. Your mileage may vary, yes. Scammy, that's Blender. Woo! It all makes sense, just not to me. It's also partly why it's fun to use it. Or is it? I can't tell. So, over here, Daz Projects, Masterclass Promo, Textures, and I think we don't need it for this, just for that. And to make that, I think I'll go and put a black background underneath everything. I think that's how transparency maps work. I always get it wrong. Was it white with black or black with white? It's just one of those things we just need to try out. And then here we'll go and add a stroke to this that makes it all white, or color overlay rather, that makes it all white. this might work. It might be the other way around, in which case we'll just invert the whole thing, but okay. Export. And this might be browse trans map. There. Browse. There. No, browse. There we go. That's it. That's the plural of brow, isn't it? I think. Black is alpha background unless you make alpha for ZBrush, which is white. This is why I'm confused. You know, every app. Just totally right. Thank you. That's good. Let's see, so under here, under geometry, cut out geometry, we now have this, and that now does that, yes! Woo-hoo! All right. This is not so bad. Same thing, geometry, cut out opacity. Didn't I just, so yes, 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 yes. This is before we've even tried the animation. And browse. Oh, that was displacement. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I didn't mean to put that in displacement there. I meant to put that in here. Yes! All right. Also, did you know, if you find she's smooth shaded right now, and maybe I don't want that. Maybe I'd rather like to retain the whole low poly look. You can go and select all these surfaces and then look for smooth. And then just disable that, and then she's all blocky. So if you ever needed that kind of blocky look, you can bring that back even to the Daz characters. So I don't know if it's appropriate for her to be all that blocky, but I just thought I'd let you know we can make it happen. So if you like on the Cinti characters, if you bring in the Cinti characters and you think they look smooth now, and they were supposed to be not smooth, and you know, we can make that happen. Hey, good. So one part of the puzzle is done. I'll go and call her Claire Non-Alien and just save that out as a scene set here. Oh, and because Daz Studio crashed earlier, I think my mapped directory... Oh no, it's still here. Perfect. Daz scenes, there we go. So this is now just our Claire file. I'll save her as a subscene so I can bring her in easy. Claire Non-Alien, perfect. Okay. Now let's see if we can, if and how we can deal with the animation data from Blender. So I'm not sure if I still have the script mapped or if it still works in Daz Studio 4.20. I might just bring it into here. So I'll show you where that is. It's an open source project that I've put up on GitHub. And it is called, I didn't make this, I'm just making sure that it doesn't get lost over time. And it's called Animorph. Here it is, that's the one. I'll go and put a link to it in our chat right now, just so that we're all on the same page. And I've only made a version for 4.16 available, but that should still work. 4.15 actually. That's not it. It's in... Is it in here? 4.15. There we go. So 4.15 was the last version. So let's see if it still works. Download that, and it's just a simple script, and Marcus Wilm and a couple of other members of the community have all kind of clubbed together to make that happen. And it's scripts, and it's just called Animorph. And maybe I'll just go take the whole folder here and put that into here. Animorph, right? Let's see if it still works in 4.20. It's one of those things that I haven't actually looked at. So in here, Comes with instructions, comes with a license. The idea is we'll go and run this. And the colors is not something that we could do anything about. Selected object is that. If valid, the sequence of morphs will be used to create an animation for your selection. Oh yeah, sorry, that's the other thing that I needed to do, I think, is with her selected, I need to head over to Edit Object, Morph Loader Pro, I think. Go and choose all my morph files that I had exported from Blender. Where was that again? Was it in blend files? No, it wasn't in blend files. It was in animations, maybe. Yes. Clear sitting. Yes, that's it. No, that's not it. Blender conversions. There we go. That was it. Clear non-alien. And I think it was pretty much all of these. 288. Let's try that. So all of those morphs. So it'll create, if successful, it'll create 288 morphs in my figure now. It loads all the OBJs and it creates one slider per OBJ. So that's what Morph Loader does. And it's like importing a custom character morph for every single frame. And so that's just what Morph Loader does. And the Animorph script is clever enough. First one didn't work, but the other ones worked, so that's perfect. So what Animorph does is essentially, if you look into the figure now under parameters and under morphs, you've got all these things. So eventually, like on frame, I don't know, on frame 95, she would move like this, right? So what Animorph does is it'll go through the list and it'll set the first morph to on frame 1. Then it'll go set that on frame 2 to 0, on frame 2, this one goes to on, and so forth. So that's essentially what it does. And what outcomes is literally an animation that does work. Observe, please, if it does work. So all we do is this, and it just goes and works on it. Sets a few keyframes. Takes a little bit of time. And it looks like it's done it. Claire moving. As subtle as we wanted her to. It works. And it's complete overkill for what I'm doing, but it does work. So it now being a non-rigged figure, I think, and don't quote me on this, but I'll go and try it out. I should be able to move her elsewhere and even make her slightly smaller, perhaps. Let's say this is what my scene requires. Does this work? No, it doesn't, because I did that on the first frame, and that does not quite do it, does it? Yeah, gotcha. So what I should have done is apply all these things to an empty. Okay, but that's no problem, since we're gonna have to do this all again anyway in my master scene. Let me just go and do this once again. Bring in Claire with all her textures on there. Now we go and import all the morphs. So Object Morph Loader Pro. Gotta select something first. Yes, gotcha. Morph Loader Pro. Everything. Open. Accept. Sit back and wait. Popeye! Long time no see. How you doing? How can we make an airport in Daz 3D? Oh, let me quickly show you. That'll only take 2 seconds. I'd say try to find an asset. Just thinking out loud. Okay, with that, run that. Wait a while. You're welcome, Popeye, no problem. And so now, so this works. And now I'd like to, I think we also need to make her materials a little bit less shiny, but we'll worry about that a little later. So if I wanted to move her away now, I'll go and create an empty first, or a null first, or a group. Either will probably work fine. Put her in here, and then the empty, we can go move over here, make the empty smaller, bigger, whatever. And that should now work because it's applied on the empty. All right. So are we saying this? What? So let's see what this looks like in my master scene here. So I'll just go and put this. I'll say clear sitting here, and it being a scene file, all I want to have is all of this. See if that works. Yes, I think so too. I think I found an airport once on the store, but only really one. So it might not be something you may have to look on something like CG Trader or any of the other marketplaces. Let's see if that's going to work in principle. Airport Island, right? That's. I was thinking about that. A scene with zombies. Have a look on the Unreal Marketplace. Maybe there's something there. I'm sure they have an airport. I'm sure I have one from something like a freebie set. I thought I did. So main camera's up here. Down here. That's the top view. That's not really what we want. We want to put Claire. Whoops. We want to put Claire onto one of these chairs here. That wall, maybe that needs to go away for a sec. The doors and stuff we can probably live with. Okay, so load in Claire. And we might even be lucky enough to put her here. Yes! Not so bad. I'll go and call that Claire. She might be a little large for the furniture here, so turn around like so. So we see her from the side, eagerly awaiting teacher's instructions. We've also got this thing about her skirt here dangling through the chair, so that's also not elegant. But hey. We're probably getting away with it. Yeah, Claire certainly breathing in the scene. And I think 200 odd frames is probably enough if I just go for a small, subtle camera movement there. That's great. That only took us 2 hours. Now we need to do the same thing with AJ. And then AJ is going to sit on his chair. And our scene is coming together. Bit by bit. This was fun though, wasn't it? Because I think, you know, it's just with 3D, you constantly have to be on your toes. You have to constantly think outside the box. Easy, right? Exactly. Camera focus. I love to recreate one of Lil Michaela's pictures, if you're familiar with it, where she's holding a phone and it's slightly out of focus. Yeah, that I can show you. That's actually fairly easy to do, camera focus. Maybe I'll go and use this as an example here, this scene. So it's focus is very dependent on. So I've saved it out here. That's perfect. I'll go and I'll show you this on this scene here. So I'll go and make a copy of my main camera here. Oops, totally not what I wanted. I didn't have the main camera selected, so I'll go and make a copy of that. And I can go and show you main camera 2. I'll call this one Olina Cam. And in here, I'll go and change the focal length first of all. So the way focus works is that it works best if you have a longish type focal length. So I'll say 120 millimeters. It'll work with any of them, but it'll be easiest if you have something like that. And we'll just use her as a profile here. And sadly, I've just done this with the camera keyframes. I didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to do this again here. 120 there. And so let me frame this up so that there's the plants in the background here. And if I were to render this out, everything would be in focus. And we don't want to do that. So let me show you how I can change that. And it's great to know about this depth of field. That everything's in focus, and we'd rather the plants would be blurred out and the windows blurred out and stuff, and so that the viewer knows the person, like, you know, the Claire is what the focus is all about, not all of this. So what you do is, with the camera selected, under parameters, under camera, there's this button here, depth of field, and you enable that, and that will make this feature available. So now things are blurred out. With this f-stop value, you'll be able to choose how blurry the picture is. Now this number will be dependent on the focal length of your camera. So if you had a shorter focal length, like a wider view, then these values will be very different as if you had something like a longer focal length, like a larger value here. So in order to tell Daz Studio what point needs to be in focus on the plants, etc., not on the, yeah, I'll show you how to do that. So in order to tell Daz Studio where the point of the focal plane needs to be, it's most helpful to have a look in a second window, to look from the top and then have a look at your subject and your camera in tandem. So if you see both of these together, you'll see this plane here, and that is where the focal length is. So with the camera selected, you can go and change the focal distance. So that's this value here. As you move that, you'll see that this plane goes away. So if I put that on her, then I'll see that the person is in focus. But if I put that somewhere else, like on the plants here, which are kind of somewhere here, there's the plants. If you go and move the focal distance over here, then the plants are in focus and not the person. And that's how you do that. So yeah, focal distance. There's also a tiny little ball in the scene that you can move and then just put the focus on there. Daz Studio sadly doesn't have, by default, doesn't have this thing like we have in Blender, where you just pick an object and say, well, put that onto there. So you just have to kind of be inventive and just move the focal plane where you want it to be. That's how you do that. Mr. Chris, how's it going? Right, good point, good point. Where was that again? That was in display, right? Yes, good point. Is it in display? There it is. Focal point scale. Make a massive man. That is a helpful one. Okay, let's go back to our friend AJ and see if we can get him a good animation here. And that's back in Blender. So this is going to require us to do a similar amount of work that we did with Claire. but hey, I'm game if you are. The legend, that is Mr. Chris. Everyone who isn't subscribed to Chris's channel on Twitch should totally do that right away. Chris streams Blender and Clo development and puts all these bits and pieces that he makes into Daz Studio, so you can learn a lot from the man. And he's usually very kind and answers your questions as well. So yes, Chris Cox, he streams about 5 times a week, so it's a great place to hang out, shoot the breeze, and pick up some knowledge while you're at it. Mr. Chris. Let's go and have a look at AJ. AJ is currently in FBX. I think we've only had a single AJ animation here. AJ turns head. Let's do that. I think the import just as that worked. Okay, didn't it? You're so welcome. Just fast enough. If I can remember, Matthew, if I can remember. Here he is. AJ, do we like animation? Yes. Short and sweet. 120 frames. I like it. Might even play it twice because it's so nice. So there was there's exporting the animation, then finding the materials, turning it into a transparency map, quickly going, setting this up in Daz Studio, putting that into a null, saving that out as a scene set, then bringing it into a master scene. It's only 7 easy steps. You were trolling. No worries, Yoshi. Good to see you. So I'm thinking let's start with the OBJ export first. Since we're what we could do is duplicate all these keyframes and essentially make that twice as long as it is in here. That also works, does it not? Does it? Without me having to turn that into a non-linear action strip, just like that. Does that work? Yeah, it does. Okay, perfect. That's the animation twice as long as it was before. This is great. I love it when things just work. So some super complicated things work super easy. Other easy things, total nightmare. 242 frames here. And I might go and save it as a blend file. And then I'll export the animation out here as wavefront OBJ, as an animation sequence. Did I say that was in animations? Yes, I did, didn't I? Blender conversions. I say, well, I was a little unorganized here. So AJ turns, I'll call it that. AJ turns head OBJ sequence. AJ turns head's fine. And we want to use selection only and with animation. And scale needs to be 100 times larger, and keep vertex order also totally in place. Easy. Let Blender work a while I pour myself another cup of coffee. Then the legend entered. I like it. Now the L stands for legend. I never knew this. You've uncovered it, Yoshi. That is exactly what L stands for. Chris Legend Cox. We have it now. Organic fuel. What's the organic fuel? In detail. We need details, Kemi. And enjoy, by the way. 7 easy steps, yeah. It's not even easy for me. This is all... Every time I do something like this, it's a complete adventure. Loving the progress bar in Blender as well. With all these improvements, you'd think they'd put a proper modal window onto the screen that goes, hey, I'm doing something. Don't panic. I haven't crashed. I'm calculating in the background. Even though you can't quite say how much percentage is done. It's just the user experience thing. Just, hey, I'm working on something. Don't panic. Rather than Windows is not responding. Please buy a new computer. That's not the message we want to send. But no. Let's rewrite the OBJ export dialog 12 times in a row, because that's just so much more important, isn't it? So in Daz Studio then, new scene. Thank you, Blender. We do love you, you know that. It's just... why be so obnoxious? Why not be a little user-friendly? At least it's not Maya. Bluxfy, good point. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Maya, if you are somebody who is working with Maya, do let me know. Do you recommend that? I mean, you know how I do with 3D applications. Do you think Maya is too much for me? Or is that something that would be well worth my while? In your personal opinion, Bluxfy, that'd be really good to know. You have been here for a while. I totally missed you there. Welcome all the same. Now, where did I save that again? Was it animations? AJ turns head, OBJ sequence. Perfect. That's the one. I'll grab this one out. There he is. And with AJ selected and no materials present, let's deal with the animation first by selecting AJ, renaming AJ into something like AJ turns head. And with that, we'll head over to Edit Object Morph Loader Pro or Figure Morph Loader Pro. It doesn't matter. It's the same script. And then we'll go and load basically all the OBJs that Blender has given us. So all of these open. That's a lot. I hit accept. And I think they'll all work except for the first one. Don't think it's worth it. Good stuff. Good to know. So I was thinking of giving the Maya Personal Learning Edition a swing, because I think I can get access to that. Not that I'd be able to use it commercially. I don't have $3 a minute. It's how much it costs. I just like to know, is 3D in general a total headache, or are there apps that are expensive and make it a little easier? So it's just something that I'd like to know about. Is for the industry as it's a standard. Yes, that's a very good point. Yes, very good point. Do I work in the industry? Not really. Will I ever? Doubtful. Don't know. So with all that done and dusted, let's run Animorph, which I'm happy to say still works with version 4.20 of Daz Studio. And now AJ is turning his head. No issues with FBX and rigging and weight maps and nothing working. It just works. That is very, 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 very cool. Okay, now materials. Let's deal with that. Materials. So here, much like before, I think we're probably having multiple maps here. So file 14, once again. I know we even have a roughness map. I didn't know that. Oh no, that's a specular map. Specular, they're just using this one. They have a specular map. That's cool. That is the roughness map, isn't it? No, that's the specular map, not the roughness map. So this one's file 12. That's the one. Let Blender unpack this. And like before, I don't see the image, the save image dialog. Was that here? So yeah, there we go. Save as. That's perfect. We're gonna go and put that in here. So that's AJ body. Perfect. And then we have the browse. That is. Oh, come on. That's it. Same as before. Really cool with all the bits and pieces that Mixamo give us here. save that out. AJ Browse. That's it. Then we have the eyes is actually the same one. And then this HGeo, that is, we probably don't... Oh, that's the mouth, isn't it? Yeah, that is the mouth. Is it? It's the same one. Come on. Is it same mouth? Okay, that's the same one here. Okay, that in the Photoshop needs the transparency map. AJ Browse. Goody, and just like before, solid color on the background. And then this here, white overlay. Is that white enough? I can see some stuff happening here. 76%. That's totally white here. There we go. AJ Browse Trans Map. Okay. Body mat. Should I try the dragging in? I might do. AJ body, that goes into here, like so, indeed. And then we have his brows. AJ Browse goes into here. And that also requires the trans map here. Yes, yes. And that we can now go and just, the whole thing, go and copy and paste that onto the other two. Paste. Yes, AJ! Welcome, buddy. Good stuff. I think this is one thing I've forgotten on the girl. I wanted to make all the shininess just go down a little bit. So diffuse, no glossy roughness. Just make that a little less glossy. Not totally, but just a little bit, like, you know. That should be good. 0.3. Okay, goody. We're almost done. One empty into which we can put him, or null rather. And put AJ into the null and call him just AJ. All right. And now that can all be saved. And we'll call it AJ sitting. Or AJ turns head, I should have said. Right there. Ah. Do you know, yes, they call it glossy roughness, but then there's also diffuse roughness. And you think, technically isn't the effect applied to the diffuse material? But no, it's more complicated like that, isn't it? A beauty mask, yes. So then, just out of curiosity, if I wanted to give him a different expression here, not that we'd see it, but because, you know, we're all excited and interested about that. So if I go and select his eyes here now, then what I'd do is under geometry, I'd go and have a look at the horizontal and vertical offset. So I'll go and move that over here, and he looks shifty. It looks like 0.2 is the thing that it would need. Yeah, there we go. 0.2 is the value. Well, you can literally go and those are the mouths here, so we don't need to see that. 0.4, and then on the vertical offset you can do that. And then he winks, and he has crazy eyes. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And then on the same way in the mouth. Also in the geometry, horizontal offset. Oops, that's where the eyes come back in. So maybe it's 0.2 here. And if you'd work out all these values, you just go and puts tongue out. I mean, unbelievable. Meg, has he ever done that to you? If you're here, if you're not, that's also fine. Meg is using him as her character in an Unreal Engine project that she's working on. Check out her channel. That's really nice. She's doing some Unreal Engine development, both 4 and I think she's looking into 5. So very cool. Indeed, and then you can literally just go and move between these shaders. Since these are shader properties, you'd need the Bass product by Alvin Bemar. If you haven't looked at that, that is also a very, very cool project. I'll give you a link to that. I don't think I have a command set up for that, but I have a link that'll get you there. So a Bass is this animated shader project that you can make all these changes and then put them on the timeline. So very, very cool. Okay, let's go back to our classroom scene version 1 and bring AJ in. Since we don't really see his animations or his facial expressions, I won't worry about it here, but... Have you? All right. Good stuff. Like Unreal Engine, you mean? It's probably... So even if the bridge isn't working, I think if you're learning Unreal Engine now, I think it's probably best if you take a look at Unreal Engine 5. So it's much more streamlined. It's much less scary than Unreal Engine 4 used to be. But just for bridge compatibility, you can probably just go and use the put it into a 4 project, and then you can open that 4 project in 5. So it's worth doing. I need to get back into Unreal Engine. I used to look into it, and I really liked it. Really liked what it could do. Real-time rendering. Top. There we go. So move you over kind of here. And this is then my camera here. I think it's my main camera. Yeah, there we go. And then this here can be the perspective view. Oh, he's wearing a backpack. I didn't actually think about that. Maybe we can just go and make it so that the backpack kind of overhangs. That's cool. I think that'll work. Will it? Will it though? Should be okay. Should be okay. I don't think we see it all that much up here. We don't do it, do we? Okay, that's okay-ish, isn't it? I think that'll be nice. It's just a small little thing, and we whiz past with the camera, and then we should be there somehow on here. So we'll work on the shader for the blackboard next. I think we're getting somewhere. I think we're getting somewhere, and this is all really I want to do with the animation from here to there. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Let's do a quick tweak on on Claire's shaders here, because she's still a little bit too glossy. Oops. But that's just an overall adjustment here so that she's in line with AJ. Claire non-alien version, I like it. And we have glossy roughness 0.3 there. Actually, I liked her hair being a bit shinier, to be honest. Maybe 0.2. Yeah, why not? Different person, so there we go. Nico, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate that. Wonderful to see you. Have a wonderful rest of Sunday. I'm probably gonna overrun with this a little bit, so I might keep working on this on Twitch tomorrow afternoon from 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I'll keep going for a little bit here and see if we can at least get a render out of it. So the one thing I'd like to take a look at now is this blackboard, and I'd like to write something like Daz Studio Masterclass on it. If I know which of these two blackboards is the one that we need. So I'm thinking if we go past the kids and then end up over here. So I think maybe I'll go and I'll make a duplicate of my camera here. I think I don't need the other two cameras, so I'll take those away, and I'm gonna make one the camera for the still image, and one is the one that might be for the animation, which is kind of secondary. So I'll go and just duplicate that main camera. So this, I'm gonna call this one stills cam. And then I can go and set that up while not interfering with the other animation camera. So for the stills camera, I probably want this to be a little more like this. As with thumbnails, it's always one of those things you want to focus on what's really important. So there needs to be enough white space around so that you can put other stuff. So wider is usually better than too tight, because you can always crop something out in the post. So I might change my mind about this 25 more times. So we could have like the Daz logo on here. That could just be a decal. I don't even have to touch the texture. It could just be the decal here. And then I'd say Daz Studio Masterclass, or Daz Studio Masterclass, something like that. Daz Studio Masterclass. Let's try it. Let's try it out. Save. That's version 3. Happy Father's Day. Good point. Yes, today is Father's Day here in the US. I don't know about Europe, but definitely here in the US. So yes, happy Father's Day to anyone who is a father, who's becoming a father, who has been a father, who wants to be a father. Happy Father's Day to you all. Happy Father's Day to my dad, whom I haven't spoken to for 20 years, but that's cool. Happy Father's Day to you too. You never know who's watching, so. Okay, so blackboard. Daz logo with a decal, but this one, that needs to be changed here. So surface selection tool. It's unselectable. This is that material. Chalkboard. And did we say it was called chalkboard? This is actually called chalkboard. It would be great if there was an option to browse to this in the folder now. That'd be really, really cool. But I don't think there is. Oh, Father's Day is in September in Australia. Oh, okay. Yes, that'd be ideal if we just have an option to browse to the file. So I'm just gonna have to look here in Tesla 3D Corp. Oh, it's a Tesla one, is it now? Oh, I never knew this. That's something interesting. I'm just putting one and one together. So the texture is in the folder for Tesla 3D Corp, but the product is a Daz original that is being sold as made by Decagon Studios. So would it be possible that they've outsourced work to Tesla? Is that how that works? That's interesting. Or have they bought a set from him that they then resold on to Daz? Wow. Interesting. LIE, no, tags, no, no. I say no, no, no. They stole the texture. Maybe that's what it was. Wow. It's gotta go a dig in here. Go a digging. Not because I don't like LIE, you know, not because of that at all. It's just I think in this case I need to have good good control over the whole thing. LIE is very, very performance-hungry hog that just kicks every good-performing computer into its knees, and I'd rather not. I'd rather not use it on this occasion, you know. Where did we say that was? That was in the documents my Daz 3D library. Runtime textures Tesla. Runtime textures Tesla 3D Corp. HS probably Classroom. I wasn't paying attention here at all. Science Classroom. So that's one. Science Classroom. Followed by TX Chalkboard O1A Alp. I love it. TX Chalkboard. I could search, but that's just, you know, where's the fun in that? TX Chalkboard. Chalkboard 1A Alp. That's the one. Oh, he died when you were 19. Oh, so you have a new dad. How exciting. That is good. Why do things the easy way, Kemi? Exactly. Why do it the easy way? So this is the left one. This is the right one. That is totally awesome. Let's open this with Photoshop, which I thought he had done, but no, let's not do that. Here it is. That is correct, isn't it? The one with the wiped off thing in the middle is left, and then the one with that is on the right. Yeah, so left, right. Perfect. Goody. So, like, as much as I'd hate to do this, but I think we need a little bit less writing on here. So I need to kind of blur that out a tad and just overlay that with something. So sadly, I don't have this beautiful texture here. I'd kind of like to have something like that and just put it, just have that, you know, that flat basically. But I could possibly just utilize the other texture from the other scene that I have, the other pack, and instead of making it a green chalkboard, I could make it a black one. I could just reutilize that. Stamp brush is a possibility. Could do that. It's just a lot of work involved. I'd like to have like more like a quick fix. We could use Substance Designer for this, Chris. That'd be cool. Just dedicate this and turn it into 3D material. That would be super awesome. That would be seriously, seriously cool. Let me just do one other thing. Quickly open a second instance of Daz Studio here, and then have a look what the other texture was called in the other classroom set. It is, yes, Yoshi. The backpack is part of his character. And it cannot be zeroed in the surfaces, no. Did I just open a second instance of Daz Studio and it just didn't open, or was that just me? No, that's still opening. Good stuff. I think we don't need Blender anymore, so I'm good here. Save AJ. Yeah, possibly Neville, but then if I enlarge a tiny bit of the texture, it'll just be it'll be a little. It won't look great. Yeah, or I could was it Cami suggested just clone stamp it and just clone brush it. It's all possible. Let's go and try this one here. It doesn't actually have a prop with the blackboard in it. No, blackboard appears to not be a prop. No worries. We'll just use this. Figure out what that texture is. And then I'll just put that over there. We have a black blackboard rather than a green blackboard. like this here. Whoops. Hello? Ah, right. I see. Blackboard. Chalkboard, there it is. This might be good here. So this is in Textures Classy Arch 3D Japanese Neat Classroom. I'll find it, I'll find it. Classy Arch 3D Japanese Neat Classroom, and it was called School Chalk. Okay, School Chalk B. There we go, that's it. Is that it? Was that the previous one? Yeah, that's it. This is it here. Goody. Because this one was the one with the writing on it, I think. Yeah, that's the writing one. We don't want to do that. We'll grab this one. Oh, sorry. Open in Photoshop there. Open with Photoshop there. How are we doing on the size here? Yeah, that might. This is 33%. This, yeah, that might work. So, chalkboard, and we don't really need all of it. So I might go and crop. Whoops. I might go and crop stuff out. Dude, are you there? Come on, Photoshop, are you being annoying again? Because, you know, don't be. There. Duplicate that into that. And then we might even be able to get away with just blending this over, so we have a little bit of writing. Let's see, would that work? Still other writing behind there, I don't know, maybe like 90 or something percent. Chalkboard, duplicate that. We'll put that on the bottom now. Is that going to look good? Or maybe it isn't. So then on top of this, this one here, Daz Studio Masterclass, that should kind of work. So this is the right hand side here. Font TBD, of course, to be determined. I could make it green. Yes, I could actually. Yeah, let me do that. That's a good idea, Kemi. Let's make it green. Let's do that. That is not a bad call. So adjust that here. And I was thinking. I mean, Bebas is an interesting one. I was thinking perhaps more like a handwriting one. We'll try both. I think the one I was thinking of is kind of a comic type font, Lint McCree maybe. That could also be bad, I don't know yet. Yeah, perhaps actually the Bebas was a better fit, as we don't have that much room. So perhaps Bebas was not a bad call. Yeah, I'm not sure, I'm not crazy about that. Bebas might be good, and then just space it out a little. Then we also don't have to have Masterclass on another, on a third line here. We could just use this, potentially. See where that lands, shall we? Oops. And make it green. I do like that idea. So those two things here. Can even pick up the green from underneath if I had been clever. Let me try to be cleverer. Like this kind of green. Haha! The Chemi. The magician they call Chemi. I love it. Goody. This is now also bizarrely a little green, but I'm okay with that actually. That doesn't look so bad. Let's go and put the Daz logo could go on here, because that would appear on this chalkboard here. So let me go and bring that in. If I can find it. I think that might be in here. It might also not be. I'm glad I'm so organized and I know exactly where my assets are. Whether maybe not even in Dropbox, could it be in here? Oh no, actually I think I know where I can grab one out. I think, was it in thumbnails maybe? Yeah, that should work. That definitely has one here. Yeah, that definitely has one. Let's try that. And just grab one out of there. Oh, no, sorry. That's not what I meant. Sorry, Photoshop. Totally tricked you there. I didn't mean to do that. So that definitely has that logo. Well, that's the whole thing. Yes, shame I don't know where the actual logo is. They have sent me that and I have it somewhere, but of course now that I need it I just don't remember where that is. So yes, I shouldn't I? I just don't have the time, Kemi. I wish I knew Windows better to fly around there better, but one of those things. Also don't really know why this is this. We gotta go to the source with this here. We gotta find a real thing. I'm sure it's somewhere. I just don't know where. That's not it either. Even though it could be, it might be easier to grab out of that. Is it though? Yeah, I have the same problem there. I'm totally gonna find it. If it takes me 7 hours to do, I don't care. So I'm pretty sure it was in here. So, I mean, no, actually, maybe it was in... It could be in here. Where it says assets. That's the one. That'll work. I think that's a good one. Haha! Totally found it. Now, where do we need to have that? This we don't actually need that anymore. We need to have it in here. Kemi, make a video for me and show me how to do it. How to do it properly. There, so we'll have that here. And blend that in a little bit. There. See what that's like. So save that as a texture. I think Daz Studio is clever enough to use PSDs as well. So that's nice. I don't have to worry about turning that into a JPEG first. Maybe it's this one here. Does it work? Aha! Not bad at all. So all we need is just put the assets down a little bit. And then we'd be good, because once we zoom in here, we're good. It doesn't need to be smaller either. It's fine. I think just this further to the right and down, and this a little bit down, and then we're kind of good to go, aren't we? So this here down and a little bit further to the right, so something like that. And then this here, just like I can see it here, should be further down like so. Control S, and are you clever enough to bring it in? Refresh. Ding! Not so bad. No, I suppose no. Good point. I think I could see on the writing that it was fine. I think I might put the logo slightly further to the left yet again. Like something like that, maybe. What are we thinking? Is this something we can offer here? Bit of lighting, and then we're kind of done, aren't we? Now I see what you mean, Yoshi, with the rucksack. Yeah, that does not look great, does it? Well, we can always also his legs intersect here a little bit, so we can work on that. He could potentially, we can just turn the chair to the right. That's sometimes what the cool kids do, that they kind of sit on a half-turned chair. So let's take care of that. I think that's not a bad call. That is not a bad call. Well spotted, Yoshi. I didn't see that. So yeah, let's just use this chair here. And either turn it... Yeah, just turn it like this here. That's not bad. We'll do that. No more intersections. Get a stick figure on the left. Yes, that's a good idea. I feel too there's something that's kind of missing there. Let's draw that in. I like it. Let's draw that in. I'll just go and save my scene here quickly. I think that's a great idea. Let's draw something in there. I love it. He's still sitting in the air a little. I think that might just appear here. I mean, we don't see his feet, so we don't have to worry about that. I think there's definitely contact between him and the chair here. So that'll work. We don't see his feet, so I'm okay with that. Okay, Masterclass version 4. Just in case I'm making any mistakes, I'm saving iteratively so I can go back and bring things back just in case something's rubbish here. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have streamed this to the Daz Twitch channel. I'm only now thinking about it. Is it too late to enable that? It's too late now. Too late now. Okay, smiley face. Let's whip out my, like here, right? Let's whip out my pen tablet. Find ourselves the perfect brush to do that with. Kind of a chalky brush. Do I have one? Of course I don't! Carl's Ultimate Pencil Heart. Will that work? That'll work. Yes! Kyle! My man! Thank you, buddy. Carl's the man. Here it is. Little Wacom. Mini Wacom. Sometimes I have, so it's all balanced on my lap, which is really exciting. And there's room for all of that on my lap. Can you believe it? It's good stuff. Pen. Yes. Very nice. Or we do like my favorite is always this kind of character here. That's all I can draw really. This is. And then maybe with a cigarette here, like so. But maybe that's a bit too much. So I mean, we can always go and shrink it down a bit. That'll work. But I think a stick figure is probably more what we want here. That might just not work. I think just a regular stick figure is probably better. I wouldn't know where to begin, Kemi. That would also be rude. I don't think that's the right message we want to send. So just a stick figure is probably okay. Oh, what happened here? Did I delete my layer accidentally? So I didn't mean to do that. So a stick figure. Just like, you know, whoops. Got to be a little strong so we can see it and blend it in and all. That more looks like a penguin. I don't really like that one either. It's been a while since I've been drawing stick figures. Is that a good stick figure? I should ask you guys to send me stick figures. I'm really bad at drawing these. That's a stick figure. Yes, Jay was here. How's that? That is a good idea. Stick figures are really hard to draw. Jay was here. I think that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Let's do that. Jay was here. Also, my handwriting is terrible, so I should maybe type that out instead. Something along those lines. I like it. Whoops. This is not a... That doesn't act as an eraser anymore. Okay, fine. Photoshop. J was here. Let's see what that looks like. And it should also be small enough, I'm thinking. But I'm with you. There's something that just needs to be on that side. Otherwise, it's a little bit lost here. Okay, let's try this out. And here, Control I. Yeah, just something like that. Just this little squiggle. That's actually cool. I think the only other thing I'm gonna do is just separate the logo and the writing with a little drop shadow. I think that's all I'll do for the day. It's gotta be cute. Yes, Olina, I totally agree. Let's put. We can probably use the same one just on these two things here. I'll call this logos, and this is the squiggle. In case we get any more here, and then this the logo just gets one drop shadow for both. Oops. Like so. A little too strong. That'll be enough. Just a little extra separation, so that's all we're asking for. I think that's okay. I think in regards to the framing and all that, I think we're okay. I think we can have a quick nosy at the lighting, maybe. Yes, me too, Kemi. This is why I'm liking the idea of having the original texture over there and just having a Photoshop document with all layer information that is essentially doing that. So yeah, that's how I like to isolate my changes. So everything I do here is non-destructible. If I needed to type over this or do other things, it's just all separated that way. Well, maybe we'll have a quick look at lighting and then see if we can get a memorable thumbnail out of that. I'm going to go and do a little bit of depth of field here so that these guys are a little blurred out. That distracts from their imperfections, and so that we just have this in focus here. Let's do it. I think we're done with the Wacom. Thank you so much. Wacom. Always good to have that handy. Always good to have that handy. Okay, Control S. There's a lot of information in this file now because there's so many animation keyframes. Right, Tux? But it was so much work as well. I mean, when did we start? I've been doing this since 10:30. Now it's 1:15. So it's just there's so much involved. But I think what I really enjoy is the process of thinking, hey, I have a vague vision. How can I make that? How can I make that happen? So I'm pleased with that, and I'm very pleased I could share it all with you as well. Let's see here. So, ay caramba, is a no roof. It's a bit strong in iRay, isn't it? Yes. So the easiest way is to just remove all of these things and bring them all back. That didn't work. What a shame. The ceiling. Anything else missing? No, there we go. So those are just the ceiling lights. If I don't want them to show up all that much, I can just take the glossiness of this down a little, which I think I might do. Glossiness, yeah, maybe that's going to be more 0.1. Is that a better one? Yeah, there we go. That's better. Maybe 0.2. I don't mind a little gloss, but it would be. I think it's just chalkboards aren't that glossy, so there, like so. I can try a cheap fix in that we just pump more outside light in here. So there's some light going on. I can see that reflected in her, so I could just crank those up, but I might just also add a little additional light from the outside here. I think 5 I tried earlier. So then we have a little bit more daylight coming out of here. Could do that, or I could just go and find the lights and increase those. Let's take my filament draw options node down to something a little less aggressive. See if I can find the lights in here somewhere. There they are. So this may be something like 2000, just as a preview. And the lights, I don't actually know how they've made it. This could be surfaces. Ceiling lights. Do they have an emission shader here? Yeah, okay, that's why they're a little bit pink. So I could just increase the intensity a bit and just not worry too much about it and make it twice as strong. That is already doing what I want, really. Or I could leave it as it was and just add one spotlight to this area. I might do that, just something that just gives that more emphasis, or a combination of two. I don't know if I like the pink hue here. I might just go and put that into here. I can bring it back. What happens if it just looks white? I can see why they've done it. Give it a small hue here. I'm just not entirely sure if it's a bit too strong. So I like a little bit of warmth in the class. I might just leave that and just put a spotlight on the front. I'll try that. Let's try that. Yeah, just like that. Create new spotlight. Apply active this here. Spotlight is here. And under photometrics, let's say 50,000. Let's say 100,000 then. Do we see anything? I totally don't see anything. Why not? It could well be that the light itself is too far away. So let's move it in a little. There we go. Something like that. Maybe beyond the kids. I don't really want the kids to. Yeah, I mean, that's the spirit. That's kind of the spirit. And just make it have a wider beam. Like disc is good. Maybe even rectangle. And then the width, just make it 40. If that is in fact the geometry we're after here. Oh. And is it also turning the way I want it? No, it doesn't actually do that. Also, music stopped. Let's bring music back. Music was good. I like the music. Tiny bit more cold tone into the light. Yeah, possibly. So bizarrely, this isn't actually pointing the way I wanted it to point. A spotlight, why is that? Do you see what I mean? It's kind of more pointing towards here. It doesn't actually point towards the blackboard, which is what I want. Oops. There. So if I go and put this into iRay, I should actually see the emitter and just see the shape of the emitter. Yeah, like that's not bad. I just want that to be a little larger. So maybe make this a kind of 40 and this 100 here. And then I can get away with less intensity as well. 50 should have been enough. Sweet. I don't really need to worry about putting a vignette on here, just in case I want to have a quick look at that. Oh, no, that's too much, isn't it? Still too much. Yeah, I'll do that in Photoshop. But this is kind of how it would look like with a vignette, just as a little preview. Yeah, as I said, I won't apply it here in the render, but this is kind of the impression that we'd get here. This we don't need anymore in iRay. Yeah, a little bit of color correction. That should be good. There's also now enough room that I can put a caption over it. Oh yes, yeah, depth of field. Totally forgot about the depth of field. That's the other thing. Just like I've shown earlier, with my stills camera selected. And kind of from the top here-ish. If it doesn't work, dang. Parameters, camera, depth of field. Focal distance is a bit on an angle here. I'd love to see this from the top, maybe even in texture shaded. From the top. Buddy, where you top? There we go. Without the ceiling, it's a little difficult to see the proper focus, but yeah, I don't need them to blur out quite that much. I just want to make sure this is in focus here, and these guys are a little out of focus. Maybe 8 was okay. I think this is now in focus here, so I can go and bring the ceiling back. Yeah, but this is in focus, perfect. Yeah, I don't know if it's too much, so I might have to do a couple of renders. Might be a little too much depth of field here. But I don't know. We won't know until we have the final render. I think this is definitely in focus now. Let me go and take the vignette off. And do render, and we'll take it into Photoshop and see if we can do a little bit of contrast enhancements and see what that would look like with the caption. And I think then we're done. So we should wrap it up in the next 10 minutes or so. Thank you, Camilla. I think so too. I think so too. Let's see then. So 1920 by 1080. I think maybe 100 iterations should be fine for what we're doing. And we're good. We're good. Could change the spread angle, Van Hawk, absolutely. So many things we can do. Haha. Also, we could start by rendering the correct window here. Dang, I don't want to see the top view. Yeah, it's always good to do a full size render and then and see if all the things that I had envisioned will actually work. Oops, are we done already? We are. 100 was probably not quite enough, so I think maybe make it 1000. Let's go. Keep working. Make it all super nice. But for the animation, I think 100 or maybe 200, 500. That's probably gonna work. So that the animation just renders a little faster. This we don't need anymore. Texture bashing, animation bashing. My goodness, what a busy morning. Indeed, Tux. I'm thinking like if we had this as an animation, then I think I might go and knock the iterations right down. But for the still, I might just treat myself. Daz Studio Masterclass. I like it. Maybe 500-ish is probably enough here. I don't think it gets any better than that. We don't have skin shaders, so we don't have to worry all too much about those things. Now let's put this into our renders folder. Renders, and I'll call that promo v1. How's that? As PNG. Perfect. Alrighty, that is certainly saved. AJ's browse. We probably don't need the PSD versions of that anymore. Or should I save them while I'm here? Why don't I? Clear browse, and then AJ's browse. There, this we have, this we no longer need. And then we go and open him. Yeah, there we go. I didn't render the vignette, did I? I didn't know, I didn't. Perfect. Okay. So I can go and make myself one. So I'm thinking, see what Photoshop thinks of the automatic color correction. Yeah, we could do that. I'm thinking that's a little hot here. So maybe that and that. Maybe that and that. Maybe a little vibrance. That's what I like doing. Vibrance instead of saturation. Saturation does this. That's not great, but if we do that with vibrance, we enhance other things like so. That's cool. And then the only other thing I think I might do is circular vignette. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And if I'm not entirely happy with the framing, I can always go and and zoom in more. We'll see what happens when the caption is on. So caption then, I'm thinking something along the lines of like a lightish blue. And maybe also in this font here, so that was Bebas. Possibly. Like, you know, part 1, followed by a title like something exciting. Might even split this up into slightly smaller font, maybe even 3 lines of text. We'll see. And then I guess the color, I was kind of thinking something, maybe something like this blue and a little blue, a little lighter. Don't know yet. Ah, that did not work. Something a little bit like the Vimeo blue. And then a little drop shadow here. Or more drop shadow, don't know yet. Maybe in the middle somewhere, like that. And what might also help to separate this out would be to have, and I'm just trying these things out, so it's none of it is set in stone yet, but I'm thinking maybe, you know, something like that. Oops. Like so, and then just drop the opacity down a little, so that makes the readability a little better. Could feather this out on the side here, something like that. So that we have a slightly better way of, reading this. Yeah, something like that, you know, something like that. Mr. Nate is here. How's it going? We're the sleepyheads of the class, indeed, Tux. We're still, you know, waking up. We're not entirely sure what's going on. Yeah, you see, if I put that here rather than here, then we don't see that strap so much. We could probably get away with this, and then we're going to put that over here. Maybe make that a little bit smaller still. And then we can do better, faster, more powerful titles and all that. Dude. Part 1, something really exciting. And then, of course, for our YouTube thumbnail, I'll just go and I might not put the caption on here, but hey, we've done well. This is exciting. I'm proud of this. I'm glad I could share this with you, because I need to have this ready so that we can all go and enjoy the Daz Studio Masterclass, of course. And for that, we need a funky little thumbnail. So I think we've done okay. As I said, it's not quite set in stone. There might be something else that I might change on this, and you know, see if the improvements are rolling in. The little animation, I might go and continue that tomorrow on my Twitch channel. If you're around from 4 p.m., do join me. I'll go and just, you know, do a little pan that I might use for a trailer or whatnot. Thanks for being here, everyone. It was a wonderful Sunday. I wouldn't know what else to do with myself if I wouldn't spend time with you on a beautiful beautiful day like this. Have a wonderful time for the rest of the day. Enjoy Father's Day for all the fathers out there. Enjoy a day to yourself, buy yourself a PlayStation or do something nice that you normally don't do. And I will see you very soon. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. time.